Good morning. Just doing a little bit of a Bitcoin update as usual. So we'll jump right into it. On the economic data side, not a whole lot coming on. We got JOLTS data coming out on Tuesday from the US, and Fed Chair Powell is speaking on Wednesday evening. So there might be some volatility from that for next week. As we go into the end of the week, Friday, make sure you start looking at this. Pre market Friday is probably going to get nuts. Non farm payrolls, unemployment. There's a lot of speculation that the jobs market's slipping into recession territory. So just keep that in mind. Speaking specifically to Bitcoin, so in the last couple of hours, we've seen a steady kind of 50-50 mellowing out of long short ratios. Just in the last shorter period, we've seen a huge increase in taker buy volume. So just keep that in mind. Also, we could be seeing a local push up for a failure, not confirmed yet, of course. We're just that's the direction we're traveling. On the funding rate side, Bitcoin open interest is still very, very bearish funding rates. It's across the board, BitMEX as well. So again, pretty overheated. If we look at the general heat map in this zone, it looks similar to what we saw 10th and then, early last week or at the end of last week. So just keep that in mind. It's getting a bit overheated here as we're moving back up. So we are kind of looking for a local point to potentially fail. Any gain of 98.9K, then you're going to 100K, which we know. Looking at the local liquidity, we're tagging the upside stuff right now. There's some good juicy things to go right to 98K and then potentially fail it right back towards 94. I really like that play, kind of higher time frame. And if we look from a week outlook, I think in general, the one thing that's kind of staring at me is there is that short liquidity that's starting to stack above us, but just failing to make that high, coming up to test the lows of this high structure, kind of rejecting around about the 98K to 98.9K zone, grabbing that and then reversing looks super attractive as we are testing some stuff with some good liquidity right above us. And the more we make these kind of macro lower highs, it starts to kind of stack the short liquidity out and build back that short order book so we can rip through it just like we did in the last month or so. Looking at this overall charts for the general plan in this zone, I think the general move right now is since we've cleared that high, we're gaining to go higher. I'm really interested in weekly open all the way up to the major resistances here in the mid 98s. I am looking to potentially take a short just to punt one, cover off, to hedge off some of the longs that we got from the drive to the downside. If we do get that failure, I'm actually of the mind that we might actually get a failure up here that goes much deeper, like back down towards 94K. But initial targets definitely coming back to that daily open and the 96K zone at the very least. So watch that. If you see it, if it fails to even achieve the weekly open or go up into the zone, definitely an area for weakness, and any failure of the demand we've created in the last 24 hours at about 95K. If that fails, we are going to sweep back to the lows, 94K, 93, 92 very easily. The level I'm looking at now at the bottom, 92K, this is daily support as well as local support. So I think any failure there forces us to go back sub 90K. We're in a bit of a retracement. We can flip that really quickly. Any regains of 98.9, that daily resistance level, it blowing out all and invalidating all the supply, all this resistance, we are going 100K plus. Just keep that in mind. That's still the macro play. 100K plus is still predetermined at this point. How we get there is another question. But in general, yeah, it still looks good. Watch for the retracement levels. You got some good upside drive right now. I'd like to see a lot more aggressive shorting into that upside move, just in general myself. Watch out. It is also a low volatility day based off of the New York Stock Exchange having a half day. So a lot of people in the US are on a 4-day weekend effectively. Next week, stuff starts to ramp up and we should see, hopefully, we should be seeing 100K by next week to the week after, going in towards the holiday weekend. Hopefully we're looking for a repeat of 2020 cycle. Like basically just look at November, December of 2020, and that's what we're kind of hoping for in the current market structure. So those are the levels. That's the plan. Trade accordingly. And yeah, don't be overly aggressive. The plan is still up. The high time frame is still up. Everything still looks good until you lose macro lows. So that's that. Take it easy. Catch you next week. Peace.